I have been considering recently applying to jobs and going on interviews and interacting with the interviewer and the company, how I actually want to interact with them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, wait.
Like
you want to set it up right now?
Well, where they're like, so what's your biggest flaw, or like what is it like? What's your greatest weakness? It's like they always ask you that.
Yeah.
They're like the thing. What I want to say is I don't fucking have one. I don't fucking have a weakness. I've worked very hard to not have any glaring weaknesses in the way that I do my job. You fucking psychopath. Like hey, what's the worst part about you? That's fucking insane.
With all things comedy, not me, not a guy like me.
No, not you.
You know what I do?
You're a self-starter.
When all things comedy rolls around and they say, we want to give you a deal, I say, nope.
No thanks.
I'm going to do my own thing.
I'm going to continue to struggle. That'd be great.
I'm going to continue to make this suck and blow. I'm the kind of guy who's going to look at, upward success, good ideas. I'm going to say, not for me, pal.
No, that'd be too easy.
That'd be pretty stupid, honestly. I think it's all about, the urban legends.
That's how you grow character.
Would you rather be a cult hero or somebody successful?
A cult hero would have been good like 10 years ago. Now, I just want to be very silently successful and never see a human. That'd be fucking sick.
You're like one of those guys that has like a nice sunroom.
I want a sunroom so bad.
Full Westport. What's the river out here in Westport?
Saugatuck.
The Saugatuck?
The Saugatuck.
As opposed to the Thames, which is in New London.
Isn't that Rhode Island? Thames? Oh, no, I'm thinking of Thames Street.
Thayer Street, yes.
Yes. But
this is a New England heavy episode. I hope everybody knows that at home. By the way, station identification, everybody. Welcome to Big Al's Grill ASMR. Continuing on our beautiful New England road trip series here, we have the one, the only, Mike McLachlan, owner, proprietor, creative directionary behind Manresa Clothing.
That's me. That's a good intro. Thank you. You've got a voice for radio, but a face for film. You've got it all.
People call me a double threat.
Triple threat. You dance?
No, not at all.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
I can do the worm here and there.
You won't.
Here's the thing about...
Don't hurt yourself, bro. That'll hurt you.
Take the camera and hold it.
All right, here. Go, let's see it. Oh, shit. Oh, dude, that sounded like it hurt.
Yeah, I was hard the whole time.
God,
It made that really suck.
that should start the that.
And we're back.
Shit.
We never really left.
Doing a worm at the beginning of the comedy podcast. That's how you should start every episode.
I mean, here's the thing. I start most episodes. I flipped my producer at the start of my first episode one time.
What do you mean?
Like, he was like, yeah, you're doing a bit right now. I said, my only rule on this podcast is that we don't do bits. We only do impressions.
Okay.
Okay? And he was like...
No bits.
I got so angry that I flipped him over in his chair. Because that's like a rule. We have a rule. I have done that to guests before. I can't really do that with you because we're in stadium seating.
Yeah, this is expensive. This is the most expensive seat you probably sat on for the podcast.
Because this is like everything you have going on right here is wonderful. I feel like I'm in a dentist office circa 1962.
So it is a mid-century desk or bench. Every time I do we do pop-ups in the city. Every so often we've done like 4 or 5 of them, and every time we do them, I take the chance to charge it to the game and like buy furniture that I otherwise couldn't afford. So this is like a mid-century Herman Miller. Dude, this would have been in like a fucking like an airport, like a nice airport.
Yeah.
In like the 60s.
It's what it reminds me of. I feel like I'm like getting ready to be drafted into the Vietnam War.
Yeah, I was trying to think of like what was Catch Me If You Can.
Yeah, Catch Me.
Yeah. Like that era.
Yeah, what was his name again?
You know, I just saw a YouTube where that whole entire story was made up. Like the guy who was a fraud wrote a book about how he was a fraud, but he really wasn't that sick.
He wasn't even that slick with it?
No, he was a fraud about being a fraud. He wrote the book because the movie is based on a book. He wrote the book And he wasn't that cool fucking at all.
He was actually kind of a loser.
Yeah, it was actually kind of a loser, which stinks because that movie was sick. I love that movie.
Dude, that was sick. I mean, everything Leo does now. Like, could you imagine having so much sex and you now have to wear headphones and sunglasses and just like go off of just how a woman's innards feel?
That poor man.
Honestly, that does seem like a hell.
It's a type of, isn't it Will Smith, who they said had so much sex in his career that he now gets like violently ill?
Yeah, he pukes every time he orgasms.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's one.
He's got a lot of issues. That guy.
Yeah, that's a bachelor trip question. Would you rather puke every time you come or come every time you puke? Will Smith was like,
both.
Definitely. Yeah, listen, neither are fun.
Neither are fun. I used to think so highly of that man. They really tore him down. They love to tear down great men.
I mean, the best Family Guy clip of all time, Will Smith clean rap. Take your shoes off when you come in the house. Somebody clean that rug. What?
I never realized how bad his music was. But like Men in Black, that he had a stretch there where like he could do no wrong, where he was the best.
And he
really was.
Man,
that poor guy. You know, I was in New York City like just after that happened. Just like I think we might have had a pop up, and I walked right by Chris Rock, and like I just looked up to like catch eyes with him, and like he like nodded and like somehow in one nod he was like, don't fucking make a scene. don't fucking ruin this for me. Nobody has noticed I'm walking down whatever it was, like Spring Street, and I was like, yes, Chris Rock. You got it, dude. But I wanted to turn around and scream, fuck Will Smith. It literally just happened. And I just wanted to let him know I was on his side.
That's where you got to give him the finger guns.
A finger gun? Yeah.
A finger gun, go. I'm with you, brother.
Or just write him a note.
Slip it to him like this with the hand.
Fuck Will Smith.
Fuck Will Smith. Don't want your team. But man, it's good to be here in old Westport, Connecticut. Mike, I've been following your stuff for about like a year and a half now, dude. This brand is like kind of, I was telling you earlier, it really is like my foray into like men's fashion and like style, because it's something that I can truly deeply relate to as being a born and bred New England proud boy, a guy that likes to sit in some Herman Miller and talk about the Catholic Conference All-Star game, a guy that likes to talk about, like what kind of pizza crust you're getting on that. Like, do you like a South Shore bar pie or do you like a North Shore beef? Something like that.
Bar pie.
Yeah, bar pie.
Is the correct answer.
Best, right?
It's fine.
But it's just something really cool. And like, you've been messaging with me on Instagram and been like nice to like help me out with certain shit when it comes to like, I'm like, how do I make things fit my body?
Right.
Like,
what's this raw denim shit?
What is it? Dude, the selvage denim had me for such a loop, dude.
Yeah, dude.
Because you went out with selvage denim. Explain to the people at home what selvage denim is.
Oh, shit.
Fucking morons that listen to this.
Fuck, man. It's selvage shit. All right. So denim jeans, like Levi Strauss.
Yes.
Denim jeans were original, like the denim fabric that we used to use was made on a loom called a shuttle loom. This is going to sound so, this is not,
Dude,
this is not fun content.
You have to believe yourself.
But yeah, you're right.
This is good content. So I'll cut this up in between a Silver Surfer clip underneath this.
Sick.
Somebody doing like, RuneScape, and then they'll go, all right, I'm locked in.
All right, locked in. Selvage means self-edge. So you'll notice like selvage denim heads cuff their jeans so you can see that little stripe on the edge of the outseam of the denim. Right, like it folds out and you see like sometimes it has like a little red stripe, or it's white or it's blue or it's green or whatever the fuck. That is the selvage, which is a self-edge, meaning that when it was woven on a loom where there's this thing called a shuttle that holds the warp fiber. Warp fibers go like this, warp fibers go like this, weft fibers go like that. The shuttle holds the weft fibers. Oh man, I'm gonna get shredded. But but anyway,
the calculations in my head right now.
So the yarn that goes back and forth this way, like goes around the edge clean, and like makes that edge on either side a clean edge.
Okay.
That's how they used to make denim fabric. But when America kind of industrialized, they went to more profitable jet looms that like cut the edges so that the edges are like frayed. So but they make them much, much wider so you can get more pairs of jeans out of every yard of fabric.
Okay.
But essentially what happened was like Japan after World War II like highly coveted these jeans and made it like a big thing to like have proper selvage denim, and then a bunch of craftsman style brands started making selvage denim on old vintage looms.
Okay. So Japan reintroduced it, made it cool again.
Yes.
They said, oh.
Yes, that's exactly what they said.
That'll be in the clip.
Dude, that's exactly what they said. And to this day, they still like make the best selvage fabric in the world and selvage jeans. Like there's a book called Amatora.
We love a good book, Rec. Amatora.
If you want to know about just like Americana style, but through the lens of like Japanese craftsmanship, where essentially what happened was Japan coveted American goods, but then because they are a culture that's based in craft and not based in commerce, they cared about making a great product instead of a product that was profitable. So they did Americana better than Americans did, which they still basically do to this day. But now America and craftsmen in America are being inspired by Japanese craftsmen who were just already doing their version of America. So it's like very like Spider-Man meme.
Yeah, it's kind of like when people make a hamburger out of two donuts, you know?
Yeah,
and they go like,
same.
Let's just make it crazy style.
Same thing. Crazy style. Yes, dude, exactly.
That's what they call the game shows over there. Crazy style.
Crazy style.
That's a good explanation.
But so anyway, selvage denim just has that tiny little ID. Right. It's like you see this much of it on the jeans, and it's just like, you know, for other selvage heads, they just look and they see it, and then you give the finger gun, and then you move on. That's all that it's for.
Yeah, because I'm wearing currently. I'm a big Wranglers. Oh, I didn't realize I had all this soot on me.
No, you look great.
Yeah. I'm wearing these Wrangler cowboy cuts, and I usually rip through about 2 pairs of these a year. I recently just got these all
darned up. Got them darned.
I got them all patched up in between the crotch.
Yeah.
Because I'm ripping through these.
We're fellow thick-thighed individuals.
Yes.
Yeah, we are.
We know what it is, because when you are...
It's a struggle.
Like us,
yeah.
Right? And you have a distinctly fire hydrant shape. When women look at you, and they say, that guy's got a huge neck.
He's thick.
He must have a sweet core.
Is that what they say?
I've heard it out loud, said to my face.
I haven't been this thick for this long. I'm 3 years, almost 4 years into being a father. And the thickness really came after fathering children.
Yes, of course.
Before that, I was like a fairly slender man. And now I'm thicker, but I like my thighs rub together, and I'll blow a conventional denim like those. Mm-hmm. I'll blow those right the fuck out.
Dude, I've been doing it nonstop my entire life.
Yeah, yeah.
It's so brutal because...
No, I mean, that's where they wear out the quickest for everybody.
Yeah.
You know, that's just a lot of friction in there, a lot of heat, a lot of warmth.
Trust me.
Moisture.
It's like the San Fernando Valley, dude. I mean, it just starts...
Oh, dude.
One spark and it's just engulfed.
It'll go right up in flames.
It'll go right up in flames.
It might anyway.
Dude, imagine you're just running to catch an Uber, and your pants burst in flames.
It's a real risk for guys like us.
Yeah, for guys like us.
Yeah, dude. But I like the Wranglers.
A Wrangler cowboy cut, I think, is because people ask what kind of jeans I'm rocking. When I'm not rocking my selvage denim that I got from Manresa, I'm usually rocking these. And I think it's just because for a boy with thick thighs like this,
yeah,
I think anything that goes too baggy, I think for anybody that's like me, again, thick boy, under 6 foot.
Yeah.
Anything that goes too baggy, you risk looking shorter. It's the same thing where guys that...
Dude, the tall guys, they get everything. They don't have to compromise. They can wear baggy shit, like drop shoulder tees and shit like that. And like they can, and they just look because you get that big guy lazy style, which is just hot.
Hot Jacob Elordi.
HAWT hot. But if you're 6 foot or shorter, you can't. Respectfully, some people do it really well. I can't even say that, but yeah, for me, like wearing baggy stuff just makes me feel like a slob.
And you feel like a slob, and not only that, but I feel like you look shorter. You feel slobbish.
You look disheveled.
There's a fine line that guys like us got to ride when it comes to our own style and our own fashion choices. Which is why, like, I don't know. I think, like, personally, your brand is like creating stuff that is that middle ground, perfect, where I don't feel like I'm going out on like a huge fucking creative limb. Like you've
it's accessible stuff.
Well, you essentially created a brand for guys like me who grew up in New England who are about to head down into a basement in South Boston to pregame for the bars. And your friends are going to go, that's a nice looking button down.
Sick, nice.
That's a nice button down.
Yeah.
They're not going to be like, the fuck are you doing?
Well, yeah, what are you doing here?
What is that move?
Are you trying to show us up?
Yeah, they're going to go, why your jeans have that thing on?
Yeah.
That's nice.
Right.
And I'm like, well, it's called salvage denim. And then I go, let's pull up the YouTube. Let's turn off the Milo Lucic highlights and let's put on this YouTube video about Japanese selvage.
They would probably love it, though.
They're going to get fired.
Yeah, they would. I'm not a fancy gentleman. People are probably looking at me on the screen right now and be like, this guy, fashion?
But that's the point.
Truly?
You're like a chef who's like, I eat peanut butter and jelly sandwiches.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's
like,
what it is.
yeah, the cobbler's kids have the shittiest shoes, you know? Like,
exactly.
That kind of thing. Like, I really do enjoy clothes. And, again, the fatherhood thing makes it to where, like, I just leave these jeans on the floor next to my bed, and then when they start crying in the morning and I got to go get them, I just slap them on and run out the, you know?
Yeah.
So if I had to, I could look a little bit better than I do right now, but
you're
for me, it's like, I'm not trying to make a statement. I'm not really a guy to make a statement. I don't like attention. Like if I'm going out to like when I used to go out to bars when I was in college, I never liked walking through the door and people looking. Like I just want to exist over here and have this one-on-one conversation. I don't want anybody looking at me saying, like, who's this guy think he is wearing this fancy?
Yeah.
I just want to be.
But it is an elevated style that you've curated here. You have to give yourself some credit when I tell you, like, I get a lot of compliments on this sweater. I get a fucking ton of compliments on, like, the Manresa, just, like, the hoodie, like, how well it's put together.
Yeah.
Like, the basic hoodie that you got is, like, fire. A lot of this stuff is just so quality, and I think really, seriously, I get, like, fucking, people are like, it's nice.
It's really great to hear.
Dude, it's New England.
It's really, really good. It is like it's really just a pride thing to make quality shit that's not going to fall apart, because you know obviously a lot of brands do that, and like
the fast fashion
to fairly even slower fashion, even slower fashion. They'll cut corners to make something just a little bit more profitable, and we've kind of gone in the opposite direction, and we like spend probably more than we should. And as like a guy who's from a very working class family, to charge extra for a shirt or pants, like, it feels terrible. So I'm like slowly increasing the quality and like like how much we spend on the garments, especially like the textiles and the fabrics and stuff like that, and the construction. But then also I'm scared to increase the price just because, like I remember going to the Gap and seeing like $60 for a pair and just being like floored, you know? And like, I vividly remember like couldn't go to get Levi's. That was unheard of. So we would go to the Gap and I'd like walk ahead of my mom quickly to like look at the jeans I wanted, and I'd like turn over the tag and like see $65. Be like, oh, we're good. I'm good. Oh, I don't even need these, because I'd feel bad. And now like that was 20 years ago, so inflation do be happening.
It do be happening.
But like even we sell pants for like $135, 155 sometimes if it's like a really premium fabric. And even that, like, but that's just me, you know, coming from a world where 65 was a lot. Like, and that's just imprinted on my brain. Whereas like, you know, quality, there are people selling, you know, $600 shorts, you know, $700, $800 pants, $1,000, you know, shirts, and doing really well for themselves. So like it is a struggle to like find a, you know, a middle ground. But
you're nailing your niche and you're crushing it. And I think guys like me especially appreciate that.
Yeah.
Because it's very hard to, when I first kind of started thinking about fashion, when I started thinking about guys' fashion and like being interested in it, I found you as being like, dude, this guy gets it. Whereas all my prior knowledge was like streetwear brands that seemed as though they were charging crazy prices just for more so like a label.
T-shirts and hoodie. Yeah.
A T-shirt and a hoodie that just said Supreme.
Right.
Like, what are your thoughts on that? Because I just, how do they get away with that? And like, how do they continue to be so successful in, you know, through every like fashion cycle, it seems?
It's wild being in fashion. They're like, I see it a little differently, and I see that they're not. Like, objectively, they are valued as a brand and as a company. They are valued. You know, they are $1 billion, $2 billion company. But like, if you're kind of like in the community, you don't see anybody wear Supreme, and you haven't for maybe 7 or 8 years now, unless they're doing it ironically.
In which way? Case funny.
It is. It's great. You're like, oh, nice, dude. And but like, I grew up. I was in college when people like in the community were wearing Supreme, and it was like pretty dope. So like I've seen like it come and go, but then I've also seen like season by season where like one season is just like, oh my God, Supreme is just, what the fuck are they doing? And then they'll like retool and they'll get a new creative director, or they'll just like hire some new designers, and they'll put out a line, and you'll be like, oh shit, Supreme back, you know? Yeah. And so it's like it's very seasonal. And as a kid who like came up on streetwear, like that was my introduction when I was like 12 or 13 through my older brother, who had, you know, like even not earlier than Supreme, because that was like 94, but like he was wearing like Woo wear, you know, like very, very, very streetwear-y stuff that, you know, wasn't in the popular culture. But then also Supreme or Stussy, or, you know, and then later on, maybe in like high school for me, it was like Crooks and Castles was dope for a little bit. And,
yeah, I remember them. Yeah.
And I loved that shit. But then to a certain point, your style, like my style kind of, you don't want to wear the logos anymore. And even with Manresa, like the first few lines of Manresa, which would have been like 8 years ago, were all logo driven, like screen printed, embroidered logos and stuff like that. And like looking back at it, I'm like, well, why was it even just 8 years? And in my own brand, I'm like, who's wearing that? You know? So like the slow development of like personal style, it never stops. It's not like there's like some end where you get to and you're like, well, maybe some people do, like they find the end and they're like, this is my uniform and I'm going to be buried in it. And that's dope. If, you know, if you're comfortable and you're confident, dope. But I have not necessarily found that yet. And I don't know. I think most people don't find that really until they're like old.
They're like their own personal style.
Yeah.
I go with.
Yeah. Like my grandfather, last 20 years, he was around. He was just, my grandfather was like you know, he dressed really well, but like he had his uniform and he really didn't change. It was just like Ralph Lauren double pleats and a sick like knit sweater, because like he was always cold.
Well, your Oysterman sweater has probably been like one of your most popular pieces, I'd argue. No.
Yes.
So I mean, and that's a true blue New England fucking staple. Like that's something you could see your own grandparents wear. And that's why I like, love it, because I think you're taking from all these different influences.
Right.
Like, what would you say, like, I mean, is some of like, you know, you might have like a mood board or something. I just figured out what a mood board was very recently. So like,
Zood board. Also.
Zood board.
Zood board.
Zood, dudes, we're zoods.
That's the cooler way of saying it.
Yeah, sorry. Fuck. I'm trying so hard to be cool right now, man.
No, dude,
cut me some slack, please.
I forget what I was just watching something where it was like, oh no, it was Throwing Fits, another lovely podcast. They're the best. Lawrence and James do a really good job, and they're very, like, even for a person like me in the community, like, they do the footwork, and they, you know, I learn a lot from their pod. But they had Noah Johnson on, who's the editor-in-chief of High Snobiety, and they were talking about how, I believe this is where I heard it, but they were talking about how, like, everything's cool now, to the point where nothing is cool, to where, like, everybody goes on Pinterest and finds their aesthetic, and, like, is, like, primped, and, like, everything's got to be so cool for absolutely everybody, especially since, like, your entire life goes onto Instagram and it's, like, written in cement. So, like, you need to look and be cool all the time, to where, like, when I grew up, there was no social media. If you saw pictures of me in my, like, early high school emo days with, like, my hair like this,
you'd say, please tell me, please tell me.
That's, like, more like pop punk.
Okay.
I was more on, like, closer to the, like, post-hardcore.
Give me a sample.
I'm not going to be singing.
Just give me, like, a...
No, I can't.
Was it Chop Suey?
Chop Suey was rad. Chop Suey is a fucking great song. I was more like it was like a big, like, Thursday, Thrice. Taking Back Sunday, brand new.
Taking Back Sunday, yeah, I know that.
So there's some screaming, some singing, still to this day.
Can you get down with Sade?
Yeah, of course. I'm also, like, heavily white, so, like, Red Hot Chili Peppers, still
Heavily
radical.
White's a fun way to describe being
Thoroughly white. There's not an ounce of anything else.
I'm thoroughly Caucasian.
Yeah. Fucking just salt and pepper. Really not even real. I'm not even, like, a big pepper guy. Just, like, love salt. No, but, like, you know, that was also the time of, like, that was, like, the golden era for me of rap, where it was, like, Dipset and fucking Lil Wayne.
Yes.
Making mixtapes of everybody else's songs and doing them better than everybody else.
Go on datpiff.com.
Yeah, I lived on that.
Thank you, dude. Yeah. I had a fucking kid on here. Shout out Rusty from fucking Friday Beers. I kept being like, you been on Dat Piff? And he goes, no. I'm like, you're never on that. And you know about mixtapes? He's listening to Chris Webby?
That was the one about Chris Webby.
Yes.
I grew up with Chris Webby. I commented on that. I was like that, talking about my boy.
Dude, the Webster, I mean, I Need a Dollar remix was...
yeah, that was a banger
at the time. That was a banger at the time.
At the time, it was a big banger.
Shout out to Webby. I hope you're doing all right, man.
He's up and he's doing his thing. He's you know, he's still churning it out.
He'll get there.
one day. Me and him both. But yeah, Dat Piff was fucking annoying. I have, like, even, like, Wiz Khalifa, like, kind of came in at the end of the Dat Piff era. Yeah, Burn After Rolling was great.
Cushion OJ. I mean, I just remember I mean, we've already, like, ad nauseum. That's one of my favorite words. It's AD nauseum. Yes, that's right. Pawn.
Do you play? No? Okay.
I'm going to put that back because I don't want to lose.
You also probably want to go E4 to start.
E4? Yeah. And I just sunk your battle.
That's an illegal move.
Sorry.
Can't move diagonal unless you're taking with a pawn. But anyway.
We were talking about throwing fits and, like, and trends. Right?
Yeah, it's like, that was another thing they were talking about, was, like, there's, like, cores where it's like one guy wears a fucking soccer jersey and they're like, oh, it's like bloke core, or, like, you know, that is also, like, like, trends have gone so quickly that you, like, can't even like pinpoint them anymore. So a lot of, like, media outlets will just they'll see one person wearing something and then they'll try and, like, make a narrative around it and say, oh, this is a new core. It's like Gorp core, where you're around. Well, you're wearing your Solomons,
of course, I know Gorp core.
So you're aware of the Gorp core. Like, that was kind of the last actual core that existed. But I think I was talking about how he was saying, like, yeah, everything is so primped and proper and everybody is so cool that shit is actually not cool anymore. And like not, and like kind of like what you were saying with your sincerity post, is like being not cool and being authentic and being, sincere is kind of more cool than being highly, curated.
I just think the aloofness and like being curated and being like, I'm just going to say the right thing and like it's like, I was talking about this yesterday, where comedians will just be like, you can't talk politics, just, being bummed. It's like, I don't know. There's part of me where I just go, talk about whatever the fuck you want to talk about, be sincerely you, which I feel as though this brand is like sincerely you, and it's sincerely like everything. Like, here's another question, because I think what you just said was actually like fucking phenomenal, and I want to just kind of like keep picking your brain more.
Drill down on it.
Listen, we're gonna drill down. And
we're gonna plant a flag here. We're gonna drill down.
We're gonna table this, and we might come back to it.
Fuck, dude. I do want to table this, but like the corporate jargon, I have been considering recently applying to jobs and going on interviews and interacting with the interviewer and the company, how I actually want to interact with them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Wait.
Like
you want to set it up right now?
Well, where they're like, so what's your biggest flaw, or like what is it, like what's your greatest weakness? It's like they always ask you that. Yeah. They're like the thing. What I want to say is I don't fucking have one. I don't fucking have a weakness. I've worked very hard to not have any glaring weaknesses in the way that I do my job. You fucking psychopath. Like hey, what's the worst part about you? That's fucking insane.
Yeah, that is.
And there's like lots of questions like that. And I just want to like go on those interviews and like keep it real.
You should.
Yeah.
I don't know why you don't. It's just one Zoom call.
Or like, yeah, they don't even do them in person anymore. It's fucking insane. It's like I want to like get glasses with the camera and like make it and like go into a real interview and like actually respond how.
Playing with their desk toys.
I said we were gonna. What were we tabling or not tabling?
I think we should put this back on the table because I want to do an actual mock interview with you right now.
Go.
Okay, you ready? Here we go.
Yeah.
Let's stand up. Stand up.
I'm standing?
Yeah, we're standing.
All right, go.
Hey, thanks for coming in.
Hi, how are you? Alec, very nice to meet you.
Okay?
Sure. Thank you.
Yeah, so, how's it getting in, by the way? Not bad?
Not bad at all.
Or Janet will validate your parking. Look, so, this is just typical stuff. We know that you are going out for the position of sanitation management.
That's it.
Sanitation management. Okay, great. So, we have a pretty fun company culture here. So I think I just want to like get to know you a little bit better. If you had somebody drowning, let's say, in your pool, no insurance on the pool, and you're stuck between you and a pit bull between you and that pool, how would you de-escalate the situation, or maybe take out the pit bull to save the drowning person? You have 15 seconds to respond.
Who's this person that's drowning in my pool? What are they doing in my pool?
It's a neighbor's kid.
My in-laws are my neighbors, and they both know how to swim really well. Wouldn't be them. The guy on the other side, probably not worth saving. I've got other things to worry about. I've got like 3 young children inside. You're a grown-up. Learn how to be a swimmer. Fuck's this pit bull coming from?
It's an honest answer, Mike, and I like that a lot.
Yeah.
All right. Pretty can-do attitude here. Okay. Next one. Looks like you have a birthday coming up. What are you doing? You doing anything fun?
No, but once you're past 25 as a man, your birthday no longer matters.
Not at all.
You don't celebrate it. We don't talk about it.
Okay. All right. Well, so guess I'll tell the rest of the staff no cake.
So we're doing a lot of talking right now. That's all just a waste of time. I need bare minimum 120K a year. I'll clock in at 9. I'll leave at 5. I better not hear from you outside of those hours. And then on Friday, you pay me. Every Friday, not every other Friday.
Right.
Every week on Friday, you pay me. I come in at 9. I leave at 5. In between those hours, I do a great job. Outside of those hours, we do not exist. Severance style.
Right. Okay. I guess I haven't seen the show. My wife's on my ass. It's in the show.
Are you married?
No.
Oh, okay. Sick.
No.
Just in. Okay. Sorry. That's bad. That's bad
you
improv.
Broke character.
That's bad improv. I didn't accept your premise. My bad. That's sick.
You broke the third wall.
No, but you know what? Just like the silly questions that come during an interview process.
Yeah, I tried to throw it at all angles. I'm like, all right, here's a because they'll ask you that all the time when they just go like,
So the manhole cover, what shape should it be? Like, you know, like crazy shit like that. Like I'm interviewing for Google or whatever. I would love to do that as like somebody should do that as a bit. Is to like with a great resume that's definitely going to get some interviews, like go in and really just like let a rip on some unsuspecting corporate shills who like just don't know how to think.
dude, I one time had a interview, like a pre-interview thing for this like YouTube thing they wanted me to do.
Yeah.
Where it was like all they do now in Hollywood, they're like Hollywood, they're not making anything anymore. I'll tell you what they are making. A lot of videos of influencers and hot people in white rooms talking about like, if we were going to go on a date, like, how would you woo me?
Oh
Like
shit,
those
dude!
type
I've
of
seen those clips.
Yeah, so they wanted to get me.
That's a Hollywood thing.
Bro, that's all they do in LA.
Oh no.
So they were like, yeah, we want to get you for this video where this girl tries to figure out
You're gonna pop your balloon when you don't like what they're doing anymore.
Yeah, it's that company where they go, which one of these 5 guys is actually a DJ? So just for this interview, like,
We're gonna make a 7-second clip that's gonna make people want to delete Instagram forever. Are you in? Dude, we're
gonna make a 17-second clip.
7-second clip.
We're gonna make a 7-second clip that's gonna make people question whether they should even talk to another girl again.
Yeah, ever.
Yeah, but they go like, yeah, can you do this interview? Can you just like maybe like pretend to do like a DJ thing? And I go,
What?
yeah, I mean, what? Okay, yeah, that's cool.
You got the job.
Yeah, they're like, all right, we'll bring it in. And then like I go, how much you paying me for this? Like $50? I'm like, yeah, maybe. I don't know if I'll go. I don't know if I'm gonna go.
I'm not doing that.
Dude, I just stopped like at because they keep asking me like, shit, dude. I feel bad.
That's insane. That's like that's disheartening that like all media has become TikTok, and like I hate TikTok, and like I was just talking to my wife. I was just talking to my partner Charlie. I was just talking to you about
Charlie. Shout out me.
Charlie, my boy, my sweet baby boy. Yeah. Love you. Truly. I was just talking about like I was telling you how I'm like waist deep in the 8-year itch.
Yes.
Where like I've been doing Manresa for 8 years. This is like a pretty common thing I've heard other people talk about, where like you get 8, and for 8 years, every day I wake up and I'm like, I have the best job. I love this shit. I'll do this shit till I will pay money to do this shit, and I'm getting paid to do it. It's fucking insane. And like just recently, I've just been like so fucking burnt out, like questioning everything, questioning my entire existence, but mostly because of how terrible interacting with like my phone and social media it's and like I'm 35, close to 36 now, and I'm just going to sound like a sour, old, fucking dumb boomer type individual. But like, I want, like, I'm going to start, I was also thinking this, I was just like, I'm going to start like logging my hours that I have on Instagram or social media or whatever, and like make a note every time I feel really sad about what I'm looking at, and then make another note as to how, like when I'm like, oh, that's great. That's something that's like truly artistically and creatively moving and inspirational. I want to like do the experiment, because I'm at one point with even maybe with TikTok. I've never been on TikTok, but like with YouTube, Instagram, wherever you consume social media, it used to be a net positive to some degree, where like you'd go on here and you'd like literally get inspired all the time, and you were like just like craving whatever artist or creative or comedian would just keep putting out more content. And now I'm sitting here and I'm just like, I want to get rid of this phone. I want to go back to a flip phone. I want to delete Instagram, even for, and I also feel guilty that I allowed my business to rely on Instagram. It's like, it's great that it was there when I needed it, but now that I'm here, I'm like, do I need Mark Zuckerberg to exist in this world and to like pay my bills? Like that's fucked.
It's crazy.
I really don't like to say that. I don't like that that's the reality of the situation. I would love to just have my website essentially be like a newsletter or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's where my content lives. Eventually I'll have a store where like physically you could go in and see the product and meet us. That's what I want to like. I want to go back. I want to go back so badly. And that's such a fucking, almost, that's like a shitty thing to think and say out loud. Cause obviously like you want, but man, and now I'm getting bombarded with AI generated art. That is just so
bad.
fucking bad.
Well, I think it's even when you say like people putting out, I think for me specifically, when people talk about content as opposed to like what's your content? I'm like, content to me is a like, that's a specific word we're using because it's almost as if we're just saying, this is just something I'm creating to throw out there. Whereas I'm creating stuff that I think is genuinely cool and I hope is a net positive.
It's almost like we complained for years and years that news channels made up, like there isn't news every day,
right?
But they have to sell ads every day, so they come up with content. They come up with bullshit you don't need to hear. It's not. You could literally go a year without watching the news and be perfectly fine. You know, like it's not actual. It's not productive.
Yeah.
And now we live in like and dude,
that's right. Take your thoughts because you're
I'm going
absolute game right now, and I want you to keep going.
I'm spiraling out of control right
dude.
now.
I passed you the ball. You got it. You're at the top of the key.
Because here's what happened is like I went to college in like the mid 2000s, right? I graduated or sorry, the late 2000s. I graduated in 2011.
Prime time depression.
Prime, yeah, 2008. It hit.
Yeah.
I just got to college.
Swag.
So, but I went to college for fashion design, right? I went to Marist College for fashion design. I was a terrible student and had to drop out of the program. And eventually, yeah, it took me like 7-8 years to finally get that degree. On the very last chance, yes, I got it. But what?
That's a plus. Come on.
Thanks. Thank you.
Shout out to Marist.
Shout out to Marist, Poughkeepsie all day. But anyway, like during that time when I would tell people, because this is the period of time where nobody's a creator. Nobody gives a fuck about creative work. Nobody gives a fuck about art or design, to the point where if I tell a random guy on the street, hey, I'm a designer, they look at me sideways. Like, what do you get a fucking real job? Like learn business, learn sales, learn engineering. Like even my own father, who's like a very practical man, because he grew up in a scenario where he had to be an incredibly practical man. Right. Like he's like, I don't know, you don't want to go for engineering. Maybe this could be your backup plan. Like that's all I heard my whole entire life was like, oh, I'm a creative. It's like, what are you talking about? You're a creative. How are you going to make any money? How are you going to make any money being an artist and being a creative? That is so naive. That's all I heard. And all my friends, I'm from Fairfield County, Connecticut, very wealthy area. Lots of friends who grew up wealthy and had fathers who were like financially literate. Mm-hmm. And they're all just like, oh no, I'm going to go to school for business. I'm going to go for finance. I'm going to get a job at fucking, Morgan Stanley, and I'm going to be a trader, and I'm going to be a whatever the fuck, and like, they're all just like such practical answers. And I attacked this thing of being a creative and being a designer because I really loved it. And because I didn't want to trade my time for money, I didn't want to push numbers around on a screen, because that shit is easy. Just for all my Finn bros out there, that shit is super duper fucking easy. You don't do anything difficult.
Tell them right to the camera.
And to be a creative, like to actually be a good designer, like for people who do, like to be like really really odd reference, but like to be like Don Draper level
designer, creative
director.
Yeah.
Like to understand all the iconography of the worlds and like typography and images and like the way people view them and how like the context with which they're seeing it and all these like it is an incredibly difficult thing. And it is also incredibly difficult to make a lot of money at it. So like that's the world I grew up with. all the way until I'm literally 30 years old. And then like TikTok comes along, even like on Instagram, like the content was like you actually had to take a beautiful photo to get good amounts of likes or comments or followers.
Well, you didn't know you could be famous on it.
You also couldn't really be famous. Like you had to be famous elsewhere. And then Instagram was just kind of like where you found that person.
Yes.
So like get a little bit of extra from them.
Yeah.
But now it's like that's what they're famous for being an influencer or for being a creator. But it's just like none of these creators are creative. Like they're
just really ripping off aesthetics and styles that are created through like guys like you or guys that are truly putting in the legwork to, you know, do their own thing.
But it's also just very frustrating because I know 5 years ago, those dudes were working on Wall Street. And 6 years ago, they were telling me I'm dumb for being a creative and making, you know, designing things and like trying to create like visual art and like things of value. Like, and their memories are so short that they don't even remember that, you know, like they think like they invented creator culture, but they're not even creative. And like the amount of people who like now get on TikTok and like point to green screens, like they get up, like literally 6 years ago, they were at a tech startup, like making some bullshit product because that was cool. Or like, or they were at a financial firm because that was cool because you could go to the bar and tell a girl, hey, I work in finance. And then they're like, oh my God, that's so cool. Like that was cool then. Now, if you go to a bar and you say, oh, I work in finance, the girl's like, you're not on YouTube. You're not on Instagram. It's no longer cool to be in finance. So the guys left finance to now be creators and be on TikTok and be on Instagram and start their get ready with me videos with their shirt off in their apartment in New York City. And like, and I'm just pulling out my hair because it's like, it like unfortunately works because that's what like, because Instagram and
well, because you don't have to think about that.
You don't have to think about it. And it's just, it just hijacks your brain and, you know.
Because the guy is hot already or like the girl is hot already.
Totally.
And you go like, okay, I don't have to think about it. They're just putting on clothes. Like, you don't have to sit there and think about like.
Or they're doing a dance.
Yeah.
Or lip syncing a song.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, this isn't, respectfully, this is not, to say it's not art is like a weird thing. It was like, this isn't even artistic. This isn't even creative.
It's autistic.
It may indeed be. But like, no, but autistic shit can be like very creative and like very beautiful. You know, like fucking.
But you're not counting how many times you're putting on a certain sock, okay? Those are what autistic people are doing.
I wasn't aware that that's what they were doing.
I'm derailing a little bit. But I'll also say, like, because that's why your shit's different. Where, like, when you say, like, hey, I'm putting out this fucking jacket, right?
Yeah.
My new jacket, you go, like, here's the exact specs. Here's the specs of every single facet of this jacket. Here's why I stitched it this way.
Yeah.
Here's why it's designed this, like, I was why I have the collar that's certain corduroy, maybe. This is why I'm doing it. And I think that's, like, fucking cool as hell. Like, that's your, like, I was on the Grill ASMR, like, my show. Yeah. And I was like, what's the specs of the grill? I'm like, I don't fucking know.
But you know, I mean, that's not your business. Is just like,
my whole thing is doing the worm. So
doing the worm is dope. But that dude, like that last post I was commenting, you're a comedian and you got to like whatever's funny is correct for you.
Yeah.
Like that is a very difficult job. Truly and honestly, it is a creative endeavor that like you avoided working in the office at a finance job because you have one life to live and this was the thing you wanted to do. It's like admirable. Like you create and there are lots of people on Instagram and on TikTok that create admirable content, but it's really just like, it's closer to art than it is fucking content. But like, it's also just very frustrating for someone like me, or even for somebody like you. Like, I'm sure you see a ton of like comedians who are like, who just like, it's just cool right now.
Well, it just feels as though, I think what also pisses us off probably is like we look on these social medias and we almost feel as though people are like skipping the line a little. You know what I mean? Where we go, but
yes.
I think about this, I think about a guy like Bill Burr.
Yeah.
Where it's like, dude, he's like saying like 33 years, I was 33 years old, sleeping on the futon.
Dude, yes.
All of a sudden it's overnight.
I
And all that
fucking
shit's gonna come through.
4 years ago, I was pushing a squeegee on a fucking screen printing machine, 8 hours a day, thousands of times, like this, breaking my fingers, my back hurts, my feet hurt, thousands and thousands and thousands of time, making like no money, nothing. Like if my friends who went into finance or went into private equity or went into like tech startups, if they knew how much money I was making at 31 years old, they'd be scared for me. They'd literally be fucking scared that I was going to end up homeless. Like my brother told me a really funny story about like him and my dad were like doing some work to the house and I wasn't around. And my dad was scared for me. He was like, I think he should go back to school. I think he's got to like go back and get another degree. Like what is he? And like, thank goodness I stuck it out. And thank goodness Instagram is there to some degree where like it does make things very accessible. But like, it's also it's just frustrating that people, and you know, people don't give a fuck. Like they have their own jobs. If they're not like really invested in this like community or whatever, you know, niche they might be looking at, they don't give a fuck that this guy essentially just like, cause I like in my mind, like there's like a handful of brands who are essentially just merch for this hot guy.
Yeah.
Like this hot guy, respectfully, like being young and hot is super dope. I'm super jealous, but like almost like exactly. But like
I'm 55. No, could you imagine?
You got the white hair.
Dude, the salt and pep's coming in.
That shit's hot though. If we're being honest, dude, I get that. But when I grow my beard out, it's like half gray. Yeah. But like this dude just like started his TikToks with his shirt off and he has abs and he has a great head of hair and like he has the money to buy nice clothes. So he like puts them on for people. And then he does that for a couple of years until he has 100,000 followers on TikTok. And then he goes, oh, now I have a brand. Look at this t-shirt I made. Look at this hoodie I made. And like a person who is a creative who knows about what makes, because like also just like America in general and like lots of countries, they just have no respect for art in general to the point where like everybody thinks like I could just like put a booger on a canvas and be like, this is art. Like that's what, but there is correct answers to what is and isn't good art. Like it's not really that subjective. Like if you look at like the context of the situation, like people like to see a certain amount of contrast, a certain amount of repetition. Like they like, you know, the negative space of a canvas to be activated in a certain way that is pleasing to your brain, you know?
No, I did not know this.
Well, yeah, like that's like essentially what it is. Like there's correct answers to what is, and like there's a whole spectrum, but it's not just like, you know, but like some people get pissed off at like the art world because that gets away from art where it's like people are just spending insane amounts of money on canvases that are dog shit art so that they can donate it and write it off, which is like this weird, like propped up, like super, I don't even know the word. It's like
fraud.
Yeah, it's fraud. It's fraud. And like, and that puts people off from art because they're like, why did this unpainted blank white canvas sell for $30 million? It's like, so that guy could avoid taxes. Like but they don't understand that. But like in reality, like the font that this guy is using on his hoodie is fucking hysterical. Like for a person who like drills down on typography and like understands the different fonts, leading, and like the distance between the letters, yeah, and like all this crazy shit, and like has studied, you know, all these, you know, designers for the last 50 or 60 years. Like I look at the font that person chose and I feel like I'm taking crazy pills.
You just look at it and just go like, this is just Times New Roman from Microsoft Word.
Times New Roman can be beautiful. Like, but like they're literally going on dafont.com and typing in like athletic font. And it's just like some italic, like wide sans serif font that's just dog shit because they didn't want to pay for a real, but they wouldn't even know to go and look to pay for a good font.
And it's a t-shirt that just says
their brand name.
Yo, runtime. Or
yes.
Dude, there's something about like, yeah, listen, something about a guy that makes a t-shirt that's just like starting out, it's going to be called Only Good Days.
Right. Yes.
I've been saying this. I was in my bit for a while where I was just like, the boys got to stop me. Sometimes the boys got to just take a step back from their clothing brand. They got to go, listen.
But it also does help to like kind of step back and realize that most people don't really care what they're wearing. Like it's not a hobby of theirs. Yeah, I mean,
It doesn't have to be a hobby, but like you should care.
I mean, like how many shirts does Barstool sell where it just says like Saturdays are for the boys and that's like the shirt that you're wearing, or like how many like Under Armour shirts that said like I'm a beast, and like how many
you are
beast mode, and they sell 10,000 of those fucking things because lots of people just like they don't care that. And that's fine. Like if that makes you feel comfortable and confident.
An arrow pointing up at your face, it says "pussy magnet."
Well, that's kind of sick.
Yeah,
I'm gonna run that.
Yeah, I'm gonna run.
Spring 26.
Yeah, dude, get that in there.
Wait.
That would be hilarious, thing. You just got this beautiful herringbone jacket, and then it's just like, is this a Gildan pussy magnet shirt?
Oh, dude, that'd be great. That's genius.
You only run 3 of them, and it's just like the exclusive Manresa pussy magnet drop.
But how fucked up is it that would get so much press? Kanye's selling a fucking swastika t-shirt.
Yeah,
probably sold a decent amount of them. It's really, really unfortunate. It's like kind of, and it's kind of souring me from the whole process of like, but like also it sucks because like that, my community is there. And like, I live out like I live out in the suburbs, like in New England. I'm not in Soho. I'm not in Nolita. I'm not in the Lower East Side, like walking around where I'm not in Brooklyn. I'm not in LA, walking around where like my customers exist. So like I do to some degree need Instagram, which is really, really shitty to think, but like there is no alternative currently.
Totally.
But it's just shitty to like have to deal with that like element of it.
No, bro. I mean, honestly, you summed up like a lot of the stuff that I've thought about when looking at like, honestly, fashion culture, but a lot of design in general from like the social media perspective. Because again, your brand, it was always authentic. It always is authentic, and I think that'll always drive people there. I mean, again, I don't know shit about fuck.
Yeah,
but
who does?
I know when stuff's good.
Well, so like I said, yeah.
Real check, real quick. Oh, dude, we're humming right now. This is so great.
How deep are we?
Oh, we're an hour in.
Oh, sick.
Wait, so I'm gonna pee real quick, and then we're gonna do our only segment.
All right, go.
I only have one segment. Everybody knows the rules.
I don't know the rules though.
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
Well, you know one of the rules.
No bits.
No bits. Only
sincerity.
In sincerity and impressions. So if you're gonna do a bit, you can be like, here's my impression of a bit.
I got to think of an impression. I don't know if I do any good impressions.
You don't have to do it. I'm just saying, you're good.
Kind of would like to do an impression.
Oh my God, this is a yellow stream. Okay. The mic is on, by the way.
I was going to say, you're still mic'd up. You got to leave that part in. That's a powerful stream.
It's a powerful stream, folks.
No, don't have to worry about...
No, the last episode I did with my buddy Turner, I was like, he went to go piss, and then I was like, what was a good time for me to plug my dates? He hears stream while I'm like, Houston, I'll be there.
That shit writes itself. That's good, though.
Yeah, I'm like, Detroit, high ticket warning.
Don't...
I've been doing high ticket warnings now.
High ticket warning.
Yeah.
Sick. I like that.
Oh, by the way, I should probably shout out to the Providence wine snobs. Dude, I was in Providence.
Yeah, I was telling you.
And I pretty much just made a community of friends at this this coffee shop.
It was a cafe, yeah.
This coffee shop. Shout out to Revise Cafe.
Big coffee guy. You're talking to the right guy.
Dude, it was beautiful. Shout out to Nick. I really hope they succeed, and because it's a fun little... Most coffee shops I go to, and I've spoken ad nauseum. There's that word again.
Ad nauseum.
And,
it'll make you sick.
It's gonna make you puke and come.
Fucking Will Smith.
Yeah,
we're back around to Will Smith.
Dude, it's always you're nailing the callbacks here. Callbacks are allowed. We had this. most coffee shops I go to now, like I read this book about like how you can
What's your order though?
I get an iced Americano black.
Iced Americano's sick.
I'm a big fan.
That one hot day we had last week, I got to make iced espresso. I just go straight iced espresso.
Nice.
That's the best fucking drink you could possibly have.
It is fucking awesome, isn't it?
Because it cools down the bean. It cools down the spro to a point where you taste more the colder it is.
Yeah.
That's why it's better. When something's really hot, you don't your taste buds don't get it.
And you definitely get good bean. I can tell because it comes in a fun package.
Touchy Coffee.
Shout out to Touchy Coffee.
Touchy Coffee, Troy, New York. They're the best roaster.
Promo code CUM and 20% off. I don't think that works, but I mean,
It's not going to work,
you
but
should put it in there anyway and have them contact you and go, hey, everything all right?
Don't do that to the lovely people at Touchy Coffee. Okay, they're really, truly beautiful people. Don't do that. It's a good.
Just a message like, hey, use promo code CUM and puke.
Definitely don't. Oh man, those poor people.
Yeah. But it's fun.
Dude, pee pee poo poo jokes. Nothing like a pee pee poo poo joke.
It's the best.
It's
Isn't
the
it?
best one. Yeah, it is the best one.
Yeah, dude.
I didn't even get to talk to you about like any fucking like comedy shit.
Dude, talk to me about
I
it right
like
now.
fucking comedy. Dude, I fall asleep. You know what's funny? I fall asleep every night to comedy.
What are you listening to right now?
I'm currently just on Louis. I just booked Louis tickets. I never seen him live.
Oh, dude.
I just booked him. He had shows open in New York in November, and I booked him because he's the GOAT.
He really is the GOAT, man.
Yeah, he is.
And I talked about this recently, but like Louis is one of those guys where
New England boy.
New England boy, man. Like I just found out, like I really just rediscovered Conan. Like I know who he was my entire life, but I was like, I never like late night was not a thing for like kids my age. Like
Yeah, no, I mean, I missed it a bit.
yeah.
Yeah.
And but you know, you talk to like some of the older like comics, like dude, Conan's the best.
He's fucking funny.
He's really funny, and I watched his new travel show. So
Yeah.
good, dude.
Dude, I love Conan. Like his when the guest is kind of going off the rails, the look of him just being like so disappointed, like is such a great bit. Do you know what I mean?
There he goes.
Where he just like kind of looks off camera, and he just like kind of shakes his head a little bit. Dude, that shit's he's great. Conan's great.
Conan's one of my favorites.
I'm also like
Who
a
else are you
big.
listening to right now.
I'm a big. I love Shane Gillis.
She's great.
He's up there. I feel like it's a very white guy bro thing for me to say, like, because he's very popular in the world now. But I caught on to him like really early just because I was a big listener of the Your Mom's House podcast.
Yeah.
So like, and I would watch Your Mom's House on YouTube before it was like monetized. And so I got pushed his like free special like pretty early, like whatever, like 3 or 4 years ago now at this point.
Yeah.
And I just remember being like, and you're similar in that like it just feels like, oh, this is a bro, this is a dude,
It's a guy we know.
this is a guy being a bro, and I get that, and he's just like same age, grew up in the Northeast, played some sports, has some like rough around the edge humor. Yeah, I went and saw him. He was in the city this year. Me and my buddy Charlie went. I was fucking crying. I was fucking crying laughing.
So good, isn't it?
It really is. And like live comedy, and like live comedy where someone's like, I think he was filming a special, so his shit was like dialed, and just like everybody's the energy of like being in a not like an experimental, like you're in like a an underground, right? Because that could go either way. But like when you're watching like a dialed fucking set,
act, and
yeah,
it's not crowd work. It's just boom, boom, boom.
and it's just like, dude, it was pretty incredible. It was like roaring laughter. It was fucking awesome.
He's so good with his timing, and it's like his relatability is phenomenal. But I think just the joke telling is he's not afraid to say every embarrassing like weird shit that happened to him growing up, which I think is really funny.
Dude, I'm sure it'll come out soon, but there is a fucking bit about him. I think he's talked about it in other places, but like there's a bit about he went to a Notre Dame game.
Yeah, the old guy.
The old guy Cliff.
Yeah, the old guy Cliff.
And dude, that story, screaming laughter, cackling laughter, like sweating. Yeah, fucking, he's fucking phenomenal. And then like in bits, like in shorter periods of time. Like there's lots of like great crowd work dudes right now. You do good. You do have little clips that are like fucking crack me the fuck up.
Dude, I'm trying to I don't do any crowd work. I hate it. I'm so bad.
I know.
Dude.
But like you see a good one, like fucking Stavi.
Yeah.
Dude, Stavi's too fucking funny, man. I like watch a lot of the content of comedians outside of their like specials and stuff.
Because a special, I think you really want to sit down and you want to engage in all of it. My friend Danny Jollis, shout out to Danny Jollis, friend of the pod, he made a really good analogy when it comes to stand-up comedy, where it goes, it's like hockey. You can watch it on TV and you're like, I get it.
Yeah.
But like when you're there, you're like, dude, the energy's crazy.
The energy's wild.
This is like, whoa. Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's like watching a person crack up makes you crack up, and then you're trying not to crack up, so you crack up more. And it's just like it's like a crazy, like the momentum,
it's a feedback,
and like that's obviously like a symptom of a good comedian. It's just like they know how to like get the momentum and just like fucking slam you,
rolling hurricane laughs. Yeah, actually,
yeah.
I mean, that's what I'm really it's what we're all aiming for at this point, is just trying to build something that's like very cool and like relatable for people.
And, comedy is like it's, you know, it might seem like out of place to like have a fashion bro on a comedy pot, but like, but it really is art, you know, like, and Seinfeld, his stand up is like, you know, it's like, it's a cliche because he's Seinfeld, because he's so successful at this point. But like the way that he talks about comedy and the way that he talks about the joke, like, and like the, almost like the platonic ideal of a joke, it's just like he holds it up like so high, and it's just like, I fucking get that.
It's I take from like the schools of essentially like Seinfeld, and then there's like Gary Shandling. I don't know if you're familiar with Gary Shandling. So he had a show similar to, like, he was on HBO in the 90s, throughout the entire 90s, while Seinfeld was on NBC. He's like two competing shows, but if you ever like get a chance to watch his documentary, this guy was like so fucking funny. I think you know who he was once you saw his face.
Yeah, sure.
But like Seinfeld, the way he is so methodical about every little aspect of the joke, where it's like, I still take like
the pauses, the time,
a lot of his principles.
Yeah,
you have to look at and say like, yeah, you can easily apply this. Like there should be a joke maybe every 6 to 9 seconds, or like maybe even a punchline, or even like is this word funny?
Yeah,
should I be using this? And like, that's the methodical aspect of it. But to where I think where it becomes art, like you have the discipline that Seinfeld talks about, the discipline of making it and the crafting,
right?
But where it becomes truly art and like a reflection of yourself is where you're using this as a medium to find out who you are as a person.
Yeah, dude.
And to dig deeper into who I really am and what I think is the truest form of me.
Yeah.
And that's that's the ultimate goal, because anybody.
But like, dude, when Louis comes out to, I don't know if it was his last, I think it was his last special. Louis comes out and he's got a stain on his shirt, and he's just like, yeah, that's me. What else did you? It is. It truly is. It's like he got better and better because he found out exactly who he is, and he like really, really drilled down on all these fucking weird things about him. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
And it's so freeing to be able to be that guy and to be that truest form.
Yeah.
And that's all. I'm 28, so like,
oh, you're a baby.
8 years, and I've been just nonstop trying to figure out who that guy is, and I'll probably never know. You
will. Yeah, but like, and it's funny because it's the same thing with this. I've been doing this brand for about 8 years, and every time I was just telling you, like, the
burnout thing was very interesting to me. Where you're like, I'm done. I've had that.
I have some fairly deep burnout right now. It's also just tough because I'm not just a designer. I'm like unfortunately a business owner who like really doesn't know what he's doing. So like having to like make payroll every week, having to pay vendors, having to pay for having to pay myself and make sure my fucking kids are fed. You know, like managing cash flow. Fuck. If you asked me what cash flow was fucking a year and a half ago, I would tell you I have no fucking clue what you're talking about. And now like that, and now like as the bigger and bigger it gets, like the bigger the risks are. So it's just like the last thing in the day that I get to actually focus on is like designing a beautiful garment or a beautiful graphic or a label or like finding new textiles or like, I'm also not like, there are tiers, like, you know, there are tiers in fucking comedy. I'm just not that great
Yet.
There are people on tiers ahead of me who just like, they got to work at Ralph Lauren, they got to work, you know, here and you know, and they just learned so many things. And like, I never worked in fashion, so I never got to have that kind of education. So like, I try and read about, you know, woven textile manufacturing and like, and I'm talking like, we're like starting to get into like more custom made textiles, and it's like these mills get back to me with questions, and I'm just like, I've never heard that word before. So like,
but do you find as though because you don't have that background, then you probably will find new and different inventive ways because you don't have that prior sort of like bias or judgment about it.
So there's that, and then there's also just like, it's very, very difficult, but I learn it. Like, you know, like it's not like my boss told me to do it this way, so now I do it this way. It's like, I fucked up and lost 10 grand because I did it this way. And now I know definitely fucking don't do it that way. You know, like I have to like really fuck around and I find out. So like, it's a very long road filled with fucking panic, but I am learning the fuck out of it. It is like, I think about even just like 3 or 4 years ago, what I was doing and like what I'm doing now. It's like, and even I was just telling you, it's like, I'm about to put out Spring Summer 25 this Thursday. And I've been working on it for like 8 months now. And in that 8 months, I have learned so much that I love this product and it's a very great product. You should buy this product. But it's all
come and puke.
Promo code. Should I do that?
Hilarious.
Just for Alec, Flynn, and the boys.
Just for the boys.
Promo code come and puke.
Come and puke.
Get you 10% off.
Get you 10%.
Your next Manresa order. And but like even that, like even this product, I'm just like, I could have done this like this and it would have been better. This pocket should have been moved a 1/4 inch. This zipper should have been a 2-way zipper. Like just little tiny things where I'm just like, this line is garbage. I need to try again. You know. So like the learning curve is so steep that every time I put out a line, even though, like really truly I spent so much fucking money on this particular product. Like Charlie is kind of like, Charlie is our product development and production guy. Yeah. I stole him from a brand called Amelion Door, which is like $100 million brand. Yeah. And he managed their entire production department and like touched every item, all 1,000, you know, SKUs every season. Like, so he's worked at Ralph Lauren. He's worked at fucking Abercrombie. He's worked for Nike for a little bit. He worked for Mark McNary. Like he put in all that hard work that I was talking about that I'm jealous of. And he's like, when I design something and I pick a fabric, like I pick some fucking fancy Japanese fabric, I can tell, like he won't look up at me. Like our desks are right next to each other. And I tell him like, oh, I want to use this fabric. He's like, okay. That's how I know when he doesn't look at me. He's like, that's way too fucking expensive. And you're going to blow the margin on this fucking thing. And we're going to be very tight for a little while. And this is like really, really not how we're supposed to be manufacturing and producing products, but you're the boss and you're the designer. So like he says all of that and just like, all right, cool. And then he'll just like start sending the email. And like, I did that probably 4 times. Oh, in this line,
4 times,
you know, all in one line. To the point where now I'm even uncomfortable with how, like, I'm like, dude, Charlie, like, you have the right to be like, Mike, you gotta fucking, you gotta fucking stop. So now we're at that point again. Another, you know, more lessons learned, but, yeah, it's pretty, but it's all of that is like very stressful. And then I also had fucking twins 10 months ago, and I already have, I have a 3-year-old as well.
I have 3 kids.
I have
all boys.
I had 1 boy, 2 girl.
Nice. My cousin's also got 3 kids now. They're all boys. You remind me of my cousin Jimmy, dude. Shout out to cousin Jimmy. He's a big fan, actually.
Sounds like a very nice,
I've
handsome
been
guy.
putting my cousin Jimmy on all your gear because he's a big New England, like old school, like on eBay.
Heritage boy.
Heritage, dude.
Yeah.
New England heritage.
I love it.
He loves it. He's a big fan of your shit.
Jimmy,
Shout out to cousin Jimmy.
the boy.
Yeah, dude. But all right, we'll just
All right.
we should have to do our last segment.
All right, hit me.
All right. All right, I gotta think about what. All right, here we go. Real man of genius.
I wasn't prepared for that.
No.
I forgot about that part.
Never.
All right,
Nobody really is.
No.
Here's to you, my little brother Jake. My little brother Jake. Congrats on retiring from your pro hockey career at just age 23. Wow, that's pretty young. To be able to say that you're retired from something this early on in your life, kind of fucking cool. He's all done.
He played pro hockey.
He played pro hockey.
Charlie's a hockey boy.
Yeah.
Charlie's a fucking New England hockey boy.
He's a New England
He's gonna be very impressed. We're gonna look this up.
We are going to look it
Dude,
up.
fucking, that's sick.
Don't look up my little brother's hockey DB. You might be somewhat disappointed. It was actually not that bad, though. Going in as a true freshman to UConn, 5 years.
Fuck, dude.
5 years in the program, and I want to say I'm proud of you as a brother, and I can't wait for you to come out and visit me in California. And that's this week's Real Man of Genius.
Is it rough? Were you a hockey? You were a hockey
Yeah,
kid?
I was a hockey guy.
Was he better than you?
Oh, way better.
Oh, dude, fuck, that's rough. I have an older brother who I'm a reformed lax bro.
That's a sick one.
I don't know if you knew that, and I played at Marist, and you know I was like a good athlete in high school, and I have an older brother, and he was a really good athlete, but he got like debilitatingly injured in high school, and like he never got around to getting back. But like he was a better athlete than me, but like I actually got to go to college and play. It must be rough.
It's kind of, kind of.
But you also, it's your brother.
I kind of don't. Like,
Only guy you wish a better life than, yourself.
As an older brother, this is something I'm always battling with now as an adult, where I say, like, don't be the guy from White Lotus season 3.
I'm not.
So-
my wife actually has been hounding me to watch.
She will know what I'm talking about.
All right.
The White Lotus season 3, the older brother. You don't want to be the older brother that does, as an adult, is like, they always get what they want. Competitive, like that
No,
is the
dude.
most cringe you can always
No.
be. So I always try and make a really conscious effort to cheer on my my siblings.
My older brother is my fucking biggest cheerleader, dude.
And I am. I really want to be. And but yeah, I mean, like, honestly, dude, when I got cut for,
It's fucking sick.
I went to St. A's to play hockey.
Oh,
I
sick.
got cut almost immediately, and I was the most relieved I've ever felt. I played hockey 4 years. And I was like, this is way more fun.
I failed off of Marist my senior season, so I played 3.5 years. Preseason was starting finally, even though I'm a 10 years, 11, almost 11 years sober now. But at the time, I was a rabid fucking drug addict and alcoholic.
Swag.
Not a day of sobriety throughout for college, playing Division I fucking lacrosse, puking every.
Dude.
10 minutes at the end of every practice for conditioning. You run sprints. You're running full field fucking suicides. I puked every single day of my life because I was then leaving there and going home and ripping bongs and doing fucking acid and fucking and worse shit than that. And so 3.5 years in, I got the call and it was like, hey, Mike, you were on academic probation for the 4th time. You're only really supposed to get 2 before you get kicked out of the school. And you just fucking got another D. So you're off the team. You're probably going to get kicked out of school. And you've lost your financial aid. And you've lost your athletic scholarship. And, oh, dude, I'm like having.
And then you said,
Who is this? Wrong number. Fucking. Dude, but I remember the relief.
Yeah.
Like a certain amount of relief. But now, dude, it's funny. Super fucking bro shit. I used to have nightmares about school where like I'd show up to class for the final, but I had never gone to the class.
Oh shit.
You know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it's a pretty common fucking dream that's just like based in the anxiety of being bad at school.
Mm-hmm.
But and the moment I graduated and finally got my fucking diploma, that dream went away. I never had that dream again. But I still to this day have a dream where we get off the bus at an away game, and I forgot my gear at the hotel.
Dude, isn't that it?
And I'm like running around trying to cobble together gear, and I hear the whistles and the running and the screaming off in the distance, and I'm like grabbing my head, and so like a lot of regret. Probably the biggest regret of my life was being a fucking terrible college student.
Not trying. Yeah.
Dude, not even kind of trying.
Yeah. All right. Do you have a real man of genius though?
Oh shit! I had to come. You
No,
giving me homework.
if you got anybody on top of your mind, it can be like guy you saw smoking a cigarette near the river.
Real men of genius. Shout out to guys who smoke cigarettes though.
Shout out guys who smoke cigarettes.
And I definitely don't take my medical advice and going to. But like, if you're gonna fucking ingest nicotine and the like, don't be a pussy.
Yeah.
Fucking smoke the real thing.
Keep it old school.
Don't carry a rig around that's this big and blow O's.
Get that Game Boy out of my face.
Don't do that. Smoke a real fucking.
Yeah. Smell bad all the time.
Yeah, true.
Real man of genius.
Shout out to those guys.
Shout out to those guys.
I was a big Marlboro 27 guy in college.
Oh yeah.
So anybody smoking Marb 27s, shout out to them.
I'm a Marby Light guy myself.
It's the second best option. Yeah.
All right. Well, this has been the end of the podcast, guys. Please check out Manresa. It's the new spring summer line coming out. I cannot endorse this enough. I cannot endorse Mike for giving us his valuable time. It's a pleasure, an honor, and I hope when you're out in LA, you're getting people ready for like the Oscars and all that stuff. That you stop by, we do another interview.
I'll come for that, but red carpets, fashion shows, not my. No. I hope they never happen.
No, not mud wrestling events.
That's a different story. Yeah, we could definitely do that.
Definitely do that.
Yeah.
Dates, guys. If you'd like to see me live, please come to Detroit. That's again high ticket warning. I don't think I know anybody there, so please come. I swear to Christ, come to Detroit. I'll be in Irvine with Noel Miller. End of April. Austin, Texas. By now, San Francisco, Sacramento will be live on sale, and Cincinnati. I'll be at Go Bananas. This is all coming up right before San Diego on the 4th of July. That whole weekend, that'll be a lot of fun. So please come see me live, and I guarantee you, you'll live forever.
You gotta memorize all that shit.
All that.
That's fucking gross, bro. You're like Beyonce with the high ticket warning.
It's pretty good. Right?
You and Beyonce, same boat.
High ticket warning?
High ticket warning.
Wait, so she's also like